We're in Wisconsin, but we have an alpaca state of mind. Test number 4 in the North Park kicks us off here on day number 2 of competition at the 2023 Noble CrossFit Games. I'm Sean Woodland with Stacy Tovar. We got Nikki Brazier down on the field. We'll hear from her in a second. And we are joined in the booth by the 6-time fittest woman on earth and her daughter, Tia Toomey.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for being here. What's this experience like for you now being here as a spectator?
Oh, it's really crazy, actually. You know, I've got mixed emotions, I will admit. Obviously, it's absolutely worth having a year off and holding my baby girl. But man, I just want to be out on that floor.
We will talk more about that here in a second, but let's get you caught up on the overall standings after 3 tests. And it is Alexis Raptis, who is your overall leader, 270 out of a possible 300 points. Emily Rolfe sits in second place by 21 points over Ariel Lowen. And it is close between spots 3 through 7. So a lot still that needs to be decided over these next 3 days. Test 4, Stacy, the way we were supposed to do it last year, it's the alpaca.
It is the alpaca. Here we go, 126-foot sled push there. Women have 443 pounds to load, then 3 rounds for time, 2 legless rope climbs, 12 of those kettlebell clean and jerks, and then a 42-foot sled push back and loading those kettlebells along the way.
Recipe for success. What are you looking for here?
Here's the deal. You want to push the rope climbs, but you got to always save a little reserve in the tank, and then you definitely want to keep a steady, consistent pace on those clean and jerks. No reps for sure.
Let's bring in Nikki Brazier, the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, down on the field.
Hey guys, part of what makes the CrossFit Games so unique and exciting is the specific implements we get to test here. Stacey mentioned this. The sled itself weighs about 124 pounds empty, but add these kettlebells into it. We're looking at 450 pounds for the women. They will have to push it down the field of play and complete all the elements of this test before pushing it back. As soon as the sled hits this blue marker on the ground, they'll be good to go to run to the finish.
20 women in this first of 2 heats. And 2 athletes we will be watching right in the middle of the field, Karin Freyova and Emma Carey. Freyova coming in 23rd place overall, Emma Carey in 21st. The 2 of them looking to do some damage here in this test.
For sure. Freyova last year placed 3rd in this event. Now, that didn't include the legless rope climbs due to that weather inclement there, but hey, we'll see how she handles this load and if she's been preparing for this test all year long.
There is Emma Carey, who had a crash in the opening test ride that really set her back.
I didn't get to see that because I was busy competing in
Yes.
the Masters division.
And congratulations are in order. Stacy finished 2nd in the 35 to 39-year-old division, so congratulations on that.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. But I heard about it, and man, I was so impressed to see her just flip the switch. Coming back after that last place finish into a solid event test 4 on the pig event.
But Tia, people who may have watched the documentary got a really good behind the scenes look at you, and it did seem like there was something different. And I don't want to say that you had lost motivation or anything like that.
Or I was pregnant,
Or anything like any
that.
distractions.
Whatever.
But how is being here, and you mentioned this a little bit at the top, rekindled that fire for you to want to go out and compete?
You know, I know I stood on top of the podium last year, but I definitely walked away very unsatisfied with my performance last year, and that fuel, like a couple months after the games, just definitely made me want to do another year. And you know, it's wild because, you know, everything happens for a reason, and to have found out that I was pregnant, I definitely must have needed a little bit of a break, because I tell you what, I've never had this much fire since I was a rookie, and you know, I had definitely something to prove. So also to just watch these athletes out on the floor, you know, they put so much hard work all season into it, and for them to be able to showcase, it's just, I'm a little envious. I just want to go out there and you know, be with them, you know.
Emma Carey and Ellie Turner are your leaders right now as they approach the final drop-off point. 18-minute time cap here, and timing is presented by G-Shock, the official watch of the Noble CrossFit Games. How have you and Shane been managing things here, you know, with everything you have going on?
Yeah, there's so much going on. You know,
Be honest.
Yeah. I know. Reality versus Instagram. You know, nah. But we have a proven booth here in the vendor village, so we've got a great team operating that, and that's definitely been helping us out. Shane is coaching Olivia, and a bunch of the other proven athletes. And then for me, I'm doing a lot of appearances. And honestly, Willow has just been such an angel. And I know I'm her mom, and I'm very biased, but she has literally been sleeping on me the whole time, so allowing me to do everything that I need to.
There are a lot of parents out there that are very envious of that situation.
I'm one. I'm looking at her like, my kid never did that. Both of them.
I know, I'm very, very lucky.
She's
it's
adorable.
a false, if we have another one, I hear it's never going to be like this. So embrace it, essentially.
The second is trouble, that's for sure.
Emma Carey on the left side of your screen is through her first of 2 rope climbs. Ellie Turner on the right getting started on hers. Paige Semenza is also towards the front here as well. We'll keep an eye on her. First of 2 heats for the women.
Yeah, it's really cool that we actually get to see the workout with what we wanted to do, obviously, last year. And just see the difference, you know. I think it's going to be a little bit different for the females versus the males. Males is a little bit overall, you know. I don't think that there's going to be, well, we've seen, you know, they could both do, you know, the legless rope climbs and the sled push and the kettlebells. But with the women, it's really going to come down to who can be efficient on the rope climbs, and then also who can move the kettlebells nice and efficiently.
Emma Carey is now done with her second and final rope climb here in round 1. And now 12 kettlebell clean and jerks, 53 pounds each.
She handled the pig extremely well, I must say, yesterday. Taking 4th in that test, and that, for a tiny girl, I mean, she's only weighing in at 140 pounds. It was impressive. I mean, that would have technically been more of a, okay, I say weakness, but it's, you know, maybe she didn't take a top 10 in that test or whatever, but she handled it with grace and with ease, and I was really impressed with that finish. And if that says anything about, you know, what's to come, or maybe the strength that she, you know, just improved in this last off season, speaks volumes about her fitness right now.
Absolutely, you know, and I think she was coming off a back injury, so to be able to get back out on that floor, you know, come back from an injury, is very impressive. I definitely think the younger generation that's coming through, they're so strong, you know. When I look back at my age and where they are, my goodness, it's incredible what they're doing.
They sure are. And, you know, I was the earlier of, you know, started this in 2009, so I got to just kind of gain strength as the sport kind of evolved. And here they are, just like straight out of the gates, boom, just so strong. It's just so impressive.
Yeah, and it is very impressive. As long as they've got a good team around them, making sure that it's healthy, progressing forward. You know, it came into our lives a little bit later on, and as they're, you know, starting off very, very young, it's going to be very important that they like gradually build and you know, think of their health and the longevity of their career as an athlete in CrossFit.
You nailed it.
Emma Carey is now done and will push her sled forward to the next station. 24 kilos is what those kettlebells weigh. The sled is 124 pounds. It's about 56 kilos.
As they advance this sled further on down the field, they're adding more load. What I noticed when I was watching the men do this test is you kind of need your legs to get yourself up that rope with a kick. You know, you're using your hips, you're using that momentum, and you can see the leg fatigue settle in as they get advanced down the field. Their kicks aren't as strong. And I mean, you're talking about upper body pushes and presses with pulling with these kettlebells. You're blasted. And so we'll see. Emma Carey kind of kept her arms bent the entire time on that sled push. We'll see how she uses her legs more, if that's even a factor for her.
And it's also interesting to see their footwear too, you know. Being on the turf, you don't want to obviously have anything that's going to be too slippery, especially with a heavy sled like this. So they're doing really well.
Paige Semenza is now done with her second sled push, and she will join Emma Carey back on the rope. This is the first of 2 rope climbs for Emma Carey.
I I remember last year, it was on the very last day, so obviously a little bit more fatigue had kicked in after doing the whole weekend, but the shoulders were on fire last year, and so in order to do these rope climbs, especially with the new standard, very impressive what they're doing.
Emma Carey just got hit with a no rep. She got to the top but did not control her descent. We will see how she handles this. We've seen a lot of athletes run into trouble here on the rope climbs.
When you talk about the grip fatigue and the shoulder fatigue, I mean the leg fatigue. When the more time you spend on that rope, the more time under tension. So you want those short, choppy little hand over hand pulls, keeping them as close to the front of the eyes and the forehead as possible. And I only saw that out of her first rope climb there with Emma. And then she reserved and went back to that long kip. And that, again, it may work for someone. It does not work for me. I don't know about you, Tia, but it's just more time under tension. And I can see the fatigue in her legs building, and that's why she's not able to use her legs and that short little choppy step to get up that rope.
Yeah, I know. So I had to wait until I was, I had Willow. The whole pregnancy, I'm watching the athletes do this new thing on the rope, and I finally got to try it out. And you really do have to really emphasize that hip, starting low and then having to really use that hip drive in order to not fatigue too much in the pull.
Emma Carey trying to rest enough to get that first rope climb knocked out.
And as we say that, Sean, here comes Ellie Turner. Done with her first legless there. Taking a little seat, gonna rest it out. No rush, there's no rush. But she did already surpass Emma Carey.
Yeah, it's really important to stay in your lane in a workout like this. You know, you can start out too hot and then just absolutely fall off, and you definitely don't want to be doing that, especially at the CrossFit Games. But definitely staying in your lane, focusing on what you can control, focusing on your strengths and maybe where you need to take a little bit more time. Ellie definitely knows where she needs to take that time just to rest and recover and get back into it.
Text macro to 69456 to get free beef for life and 40% off trifecta meal delivery. Eat Elite.
Wow, for life. That's crazy.
I'll take it. The Paige Semenza, Fisa Gaffi, and Alexia Williams are your three leaders right now.
Paige getting right to work on those kettlebells. We'll see how she breaks this up here. She's also re-dipping underneath those kettlebells. I mean, they're called an odd object for a reason, folks. These things are not light. They're awkward. They're funky. One can go up at a different time than the other, so it takes consistency, it takes accuracy, it takes power, precision, and strength on top of all of that.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And it's funny because last year, and it's just because you're under the pump, you're competing, you want to go fast. And I remember I started out real hot. So I'm talking from experience here. And I was doing push press to start off with. And man, that was a bad idea because they fried up so quickly. And definitely getting that dip drive and getting underneath that weight to use the legs to actually get that weight up is so crucial.
Let's bring in Nikki Brazier down on the field.
Guys, it's interesting to see Paige Semenza up front because yesterday when I was having a chat with her, she let me know that her personal goal here has really shifted as the season carried on from being focused on a very specific finish, top 15, to now really letting go of that expectation and just trying to soak in every bit of competing. It had been a really tough year for her, but she said that it helped her grow in many ways through resilience and adversity. She said, I just kept showing up day after day, and this is the big weekend to show exactly what that statement means.
Semenza only has 3 reps to go, now 2. Alexia Williams and Fisa Gaffi right behind her. Kelly Baker and Victoria Campos rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, Paige looking strong. Fee taking a quick shake. I've noticed the difference between their two kettlebell clean and jerks. Fee is actually pausing at the top of the shoulders, just a true testament to what these kettlebells, just getting them to the shoulders can do to someone. but I'm not so sure I like that strategy. I think the more you put those on your shoulders, the more the shoulders are going to fatigue a little bit. But I mean, with this odd object, you just kind of have to do whatever you do, make sure you don't get a no rep. So for her, it's just settling into knowing she can get underneath the kettlebells there.
Yeah, having a little bit more control. Yeah.
Paige Semenza knows a lot about leg drive. She's a former hockey player, played at Ohio State University. Her senior season, she was tied for the team lead in goals. She scored 13 and had 7 multiple-point games and a hat trick against North Dakota.
What a stud. Push that with ease. I like that she let her arms relax a little bit. Meanwhile, Emma Carey, you guys, got through one legless rope climb, but she's still resting and waiting for that feeling of ready to go again, come back.
I don't know if either one of you have ever been in this position, but this has got to be frustrating knowing that there is nothing you can do but rest.
I have been. I'm sitting next to the 6-time champ, so I doubt she has, but it is a horrible feeling. You just want to, you can't do anything about it. You literally just have to wait until you get that feeling of, okay, I've got this again. I can go again and hope for the best.
Yeah, there definitely are times. Everyone goes through it, you know. You have to take the moment and you have to really listen to the body.
And not pay attention to what's happening around you. That's also the hardest part, because you talked about that sense of urgency. You see everyone just accumulating reps, and your body's just responding with, now's not the time. You still just have to sit here and wait.
Yep. And it can be a combination of things, you know. So this year, and you've heard the athletes talk about it, it is very hot out there. So, you know, maybe the heat this year compared to last year is definitely having a huge influence on some, especially if they're not staying hydrated, which is absolutely key throughout the summer and also here in Madison. And to optimize performance, right?
I also think, you know, last year they descended in reps 20, 15, 10, and this year it's 12 across, so that you get that feeling of, oh, 12's not so bad, but 20, I definitely have to break it up. But you have to be strategic, and it's easy to kind of come out hot, like you said, and take the 12 as unbroken, and when maybe you should have just broken up a few times starting off.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll get to that 7th, 8th rep, and then you're like, oh, I still got 4 to go.
Paige Semenza is through her first of 2 rope climbs here. As Emma Carey, who was our early leader, is trying to get herself through this second round.
That's the short, choppy little step she needs, and that's what she started with, but now you can see she's going back to that really long kip. It's just more grip, more fatigue, more time on that rope. Oh, and she clamps.
That's so costly.
It is costly, and you talk about the heat, Tia. And none of these athletes are wearing gloves. They also don't have their grips around their hands, so you run the risk of actually a rope burn.
Yep.
And that you definitely don't want. You got to use your hands for a really long weekend ahead. So
absolutely.
Unfortunate. I hope she's not getting a burn, but that is a risk you take falling off the rope like that.
Especially when you don't.
Also have their eyes on the clock.
Especially when you don't know what the other events are coming up. If you have to hold onto the pull-up bar in the Coliseum, you know, you definitely want to make sure that your hands are good to go for the rest of the weekend. It is definitely really important. And, oh, man, it's just such a long rep.
It is.
Everyone resting right now at this portion of the test, and we have 2 minutes to go before we hit the time cap. And Paige Semenza is the leader. She only has 1 legless rope climb remaining, and then she'll head back for 12 final clean and jerks, and then the final sled push across the finish.
You know, and we know Amanda Barnhart is a machine at sleds, and, you know, she's even having to break up the sled herself, and so that just goes to show how heavy it really is as it's, you know, increasing the weight as they progress through. So what these athletes are doing out on this floor is unbelievable. You know, I've never actually sat up here and looked over the floor. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's a good view, isn't
My
it?
goodness.
Oh, here's a wave for the crowd. That is the best feeling ever, when you finally make a rope climb after waiting for a really long time to get up the rope, and the crowd is rooting behind you.
That's Rebecca Vidison, who is now in the lead.
She's so tall. There you go, look at it.
Looking strong.
She is.
Nice big hip drive off the top of the shoulders there. Strategic break.
And she is fighting for the lead with Abigail Domet. Now Alexia Williams is working her way to the kettlebells. We have about 35 seconds to go before we hit the time cap.
You hear that 30 seconds in the background, and it's like, just accumulate reps. It's 30 seconds, accumulate reps. You can do this.
Yeah, one step at a time. Just keep progressing forward. Yep. Yeah, these girls are trying to dig deep. You can just tell they want to keep going, but physically they're just, let's go, girl.
Abigail Domet right now is your leader through 43 of the 47 total scored repetitions. But no one is going to finish, but Domet is going to have the top score.
Way to go, ladies. Way to go.
A late charge from Domet and Vidison. Unofficially, Domet gets through 9 reps on the clean and jerk. Tia, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it. We know you're busy, and it's always a pleasure having you up here and talking to you.
Yeah.
Best of luck moving forward, and looking forward to seeing you next season.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was great.
Final heat coming up next here in the North Park.